Hi everybody, in this video I'll be going over the PowerPoint 3A and B Office for the web assignments. So I have already opened up the PowerPoint 3A in my Office online account. The first thing that I want to do is to go up to my Design tab, and we're going to practice doing different or applying different themes, variants, and also customizing our presentation. So in my variants group, I'm going to click the More button so I can see all of the options available. And then it says to select Variant 2. So if you hover your cursor over it, you should see a little screen tip over the second one that says Variant 2. In this box that appears, it's totally fine that you click your OK button. And that's going to move us on to step 4, which says still on slide 1, up on our Design tab. Now we're going to go to our background. We're going to move your cursor to Solid Fill, and then under Theme Colors, we're going to go to the third column, third color. So 1, 2, 3, which is a tan background to darker 25%. So we can see that that adjusted the background color of that slide only. Moving on to step 5, we're going to click on slide number 6. Up on our Design tab, again we're going to go to Background. This time we're going to use a picture as our background. So I'm going to go down to Insert Picture, and then I want to choose this device. So when you opened up and downloaded your start files, you should have also downloaded that P03A Hills image. And here it is, taking up the entire background of our slide. For step 6, what we're going to do is to click once in our title placeholder. And then what we're going to do, it says on your Shape tab, in your Shape Styles group, we're going to click the More button, and we're going to apply the 4th row second style. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go down to Green Fill, Colored Fill, Green Accent 3. So notice that just by adjusting the shape fill or the background color of that object, it makes it a lot easier to see the text. So next what we're going to do is to move on to step 7. For step 7 we need to click on slide 3. It says to click anywhere in our bulleted placeholder. Now we're going to apply an animation. So up on our Animations tab, in our Animation group, we're going to click the More button. And so notice that there are a lot of different animations. For us, we're going to select one of the ones underneath Entrance. So notice that there is an Entrance section, Emphasis, and Exit. Make sure you're looking at the Entrance one. And it says to select Fly In. So notice that there's some lines and then the star, and if you look really closely, there's a little white up arrow within the star. And so that just tells us the direction that it's going to appear in our slide. Okay, and then still in your animation group, let's click Effect Options. And this time it says to select From Top. So notice there's a little down arrow now. So now it's going to fly in from the top down to the bottom to here. Next we're going to select the picture. In our Animations tab and Animation group, let's click the More button. And this one is going to be a fade animation. So that's still under Entrance, it's the second option. And let's go ahead and just preview this. So on this slide in my animation pane on the right, I'm going to click on preview. I'm going to click once. Notice that each bulleted item flies in from the top to that placeholder. Finally, I'm going to click one more time. And you'll notice that the image fades in to our slide. Okay, now that I've previewed it, I know it works. I'm going to go ahead and click on this little close button in our pane on the right. Okay, so that's now going to bring us to our title placeholder. So I'm going to click once in where it says it's a great way to. And I'm going to apply the fade animation to this as well. So in my animations pane, if you see fade in this bar here, you can go ahead and click fade. If you only see maybe a couple or one or two, just click your down arrow for your more options and select fade. So once you do that, what we're going to do is to go up to our timing group. From here, what we need to do is to select the move earlier. Actually, that's going to be in our reorder group. So I'm going to click move earlier 2 times. Notice that right now this is a 5. So if I click move earlier 1, 2, it's now 3. So all this means is that this is the third thing that's going to appear when we click. So the first one is going to be the first bulleted item, then the second, and then the title, and then where it says get outside and meet your neighbors. And so that's going to be a really weird order. So let's keep on pressing this move earlier until this is at 1. So I'll keep clicking move earlier until it's 1. And now when we open the slide and the first thing that we click, the first time that we click, the title is going to appear, and then each bulleted item, and then the picture. Okay, next for step number 10, we're going to go up to slide 1. We're going to click once in the title where it says take a hike. And now we're going to do a fly in animation. So for me, I have fly in here. If for whatever reason you don't see fly in, again, click the more button and then select fly in. As for the effect options, we're going to do from top. So that's going to fly in from top to bottom. And then finally for step 11, it says to click anywhere in the subtitle. And then this is going to be a fade animation. Okay, if you want, you can review the entire slideshow by clicking slideshow from beginning. Notice that it's blank right now, and that's because we need to click. So I'll click through. And I'll just slowly click through each of those slides until I get to the end. And then I'll click one last time to bring me back to my main slides here. Okay, so that was it for the 3A Office for the Web. Stay tuned. In a few seconds, I'll be showing you how to complete the 3B. Alright, so let's get started with 3B. I've already downloaded my start files, and I'll go ahead and open up the 3B Office for the Web. And so from here, I'm going to move on to clicking on slide 2. In my content placeholder, we're going to insert a table. So that's the icon on the top left corner. This is going to be a 3-column, 2-row table. So I'm changing the columns to 3, and your number of rows should be 2. On the top left, I'm going to type in athletics. I'm going to press tab. And here I'll type in leisure. I'll press tab again and then type in arts. After arts, I'm going to press tab one more time. That's going to bring my cursor down here in the second row. And I'll type exactly how it's shown in step number 5. So this is team sports. In the next section, I'll type in personal development classes. And then finally, music and dance classes. Now for step 6, it says with the insertion point positioned in the last cell of the table. So the last cell is just the one on the bottom right. We're going to press tab one more time. So pressing tab is going to automatically insert a new row with the same amount of columns as the previous rows. Okay, so here I'm going to type in youth. I'll press tab and then type in older adults. And then finally, in this last one, I'm going to type in young adults. And then it finally says to select any cell in the first column. So all that means is either click in athletics, team sports, or youth. Now up on my table layout tab, and this is on step 7, I'm going to look for my rows and columns group, and I'm going to click on insert left. And so what we did was just insert a column to the left of whatever column our cursor had been in. And for step 8, it says in the second row, you're going to click in the first cell in the second row, which is this one here. And we're going to type in largest enrollments. And then in the third row, we're going to type in primary market. Okay, so with your cursors anywhere in the third row, up on our table layout tab, in our rows and columns group, we're going to click on insert above. And so here in the first blank cell, I'm going to type in average enrollment. And then I'm going to type in everything that's listed here. So this one is 85% of capacity. The next one is 62% of capacity. And then finally, the last one is 78% of capacity. Now for step number 9, it says to point to the bottom of the center sizing handle. Notice that with my cursor on the bottom center here over that little circle, my cursor turns into a sizing handle, which is a white up and down arrow. And I'm just going to drag it down so that it is aligned with the 4.5 inch mark on my ruler. So you'll notice that I'm going to drag down all the way down to about this section here. So it's at about 4.5 inches below on my vertical ruler. We can also verify the height of your table. So with your table selected up in your table size group, if it's not 4.5, just go up to your height box, type in 4.5, and then press enter so it's more accurate. Next, let's take a look at step 10, which says to click in the first cell of the table. So that's this empty one here. Now on our table layout tab, in our cell size group, So for your cell size group, notice that your cell sizes are different than the entire table sizes. What we're going to do is to click on Distribute Rows. Notice that now everything is evenly spaced. And then still on our table layout, what we're going to do is to go to our table layout group. And then we need to click the Select button. So I'm going to click Select and then Select Table. This just makes sure that the entire table is selected. Then it's also going to bring us to our Table Design tab up at the top. And so what we're going to do once this is selected is to go back to your table layout. And then in your alignment group, we're going to do a center as well as a middle align. So notice that it's centered all of the text vertically as well as horizontally within each of those cells. For step number 11 now, I'm just going to click anywhere within my table. Up on my Table Design tab, let's adjust our table style. So in my Table Styles group, I'll click my More button. And it says under Light, so here's my Light section. It says to select the third row, fourth style. So here's my third row, and I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the Light Style 3, Accent 3. So notice that it does have this style applied. For this specific style, it's just white and gray. You'll notice that for mine, some of these headings were whited out. That's just the way that my table had inserted. But just by double clicking in them, they had reappeared. Hopefully you don't run into that same issue, but yeah, just double click in those cells, these three here, if it came out blank. And next, let's take a look at step number 12, which says on our Table Design tab, in our Table Style Options group near the top left, what we're going to do is to clear the banded rows. So notice that when we deselect banded rows, that those alternate gray rows disappear. And so now it's just that single color. What we want to do is to actually apply a banded columns. Here we can see that with banded columns, that alternating columns have that gray outline, except for our headings here, which is fine. So for step 13, now we're going to select the first column. We're also going to apply bold. And then for step 14, let's go ahead and click slide 4. And we're going to insert another table. So I'll click the insert table. This is going to be 4 columns, 5 rows. And then starting in the first row, second cell, so make sure you're in the second one here, we're going to start typing. So make sure that after athletics you type in leisure and then arts. On the left, this is going to be spring, 6:30, 7:20, and just keep tabbing through until you've typed everything, making sure to press your tab key to move through so that they are all in separate cells. And that's going to bring us to step number 15, which says up on our Table Design tab in our Table Styles group, let's click More. And then now under our Medium section, in our first row, I'm going to select the 4th style, which is the medium style 1 accent 3. Again, I'm going to adjust our table size, so not the cell size but the table size. We want our height to be 4.5, and then in our cell size, make sure you click on distribute rows, and that way they are all evenly spaced. Okay, and so that was it for 3B. You can go ahead, do a file, create a copy, download a copy, and then upload that into MyLab.